Everyone. Our group's topic is climate change adaptation on water issues in Singapore and Taiwan. Singapore's crisis is that by 2100, sea levels are projected to rise by up to 1 meters, and there will be more intense and frequent heavy rainfall events. In an extreme event, when very high tides and storm surges come together, transient sea levels could reach 4 meters above the current mean sea level, or even higher. Without timely action, low-lying coastal areas and landmarks could be flooded, affecting homes and livelihood. Here are some countries that have experienced flooding in 2022. Singapore may experience them in the very near future. So what are the solutions? Well, to tackle rising sea levels, Singapore has some coastal protection strategies. Firstly, we have developed the coastal inland flood model to simulate flood events under the combined effects of higher sea levels and intense rainfall. This will allow us to optimize coastal adaptation measures and will allow us to continuously review flood risks based on the latest available data. Next, we have ongoing policy reviews and regulatory framework for coastal protection. This is because the exact rate and magnitude of sea level rise remains uncertain, and there are long lead times and substantial investment for such coastal protection strategies. Hence, they will have to be flexible to allow for adjustments according to developments in climate science. This will allow us to have adequate protection while retaining the ability to adapt to any changes in climate projections. Thirdly, with integrated planning by carrying out conceptual designs of coastal adaptations measures throughout our coastlines. Here are some of our segmented coastlines. And Singapore has segmented all our coastlines into 8 different portions, and we will develop them in phases progressively. And we will be focusing more on the south due to the higher anticipated flood impact. Next, we can also depend on our mangroves as they are able to reduce storm wave heights by more than 75%. However, mangroves alone are not enough, and they need to be incorporated into hybrid engineering solutions. Lastly, we'll elevate our roads. One trial project will be the 1 km stretch beside Changi Beach, elevated up to 80 cm. The Changi Airport Terminal 5 is also set to be built 5 meters above sea levels. Next, I'll hand over time to Amelia, who will talk more about our second strategy.
The second challenge Singapore faces in a warming world is an increase in the frequency of pluvial flooding. As can be seen in this slide, Singapore is no stranger to pluvial floods, having experienced severe flash flooding episodes in 1954, 1969, 1978, and most recently in 2010. While Singapore has been developing its flood management infrastructure, climate change still threatens to overwhelm our current efforts. So what has been done to promote flood management? As can be seen here, Singapore has adopted a three-pronged strategy to flood management. Firstly, to mitigate flood risks, the Public Utilities Board, or PUB, has adopted the source pathway receptor approach to basin-wide planning so as to capture, to redirect, and keep excess water at bay. Source strategies include building on-site detention tanks. Pathway strategies include widening and deepening drains, whereas receptor strategies include raising minimum platform and crest levels, as well as protecting key infrastructure. To complement these hard engineering strategies, PUB has also enhanced community preparedness through flood awareness programs and its signature flood alert notification service. For this purpose, over 200 water sensors have also been installed across the island to monitor flood levels. Finally, the government has integrated flood management with its larger sustainability goals through the Active, Beautiful, and Clean Waters program. In building community spaces around floodplains and water features, citizens are taught to appreciate the environment, all while improving flood awareness and management, as well as the quality of urban runoff. However, Singapore's approach to flood management is not watertight. Instead, climate change calls for a more comprehensive contemplation of flood management policies, which we can draw inspiration from Taiwan.
Okay, so now let's take a look at Taiwan's problem under climate change. According to a CMA report, the rainfall in the northern flatlands has increased, so which will lead to the floods in the north. But at the same time, the rainfall in the southern and the mountainous part of Taiwan has decreased, which will lead to the drought in the south. Combined with the many problems, Taiwan's situation of drought is becoming more and more obvious. Decrease in participation, as we can take a look at the chart right at the right-hand side. Taiwan has suffered 4 droughts in these 30 years between 1990 and 2020 due to the lack of rainfall. So this will become a serious problem if Taiwan has lack of rainfall combined with the terrain issues, geographical issues. Droughts will be becoming more and more obvious.
As most of the typhoons in Taiwan occur in the sea east of the Philippines. After the typhoon is formed, it will follow west to northwest, and sometimes it will follow the route of northwest to north, depending on the direction of airflow around the typhoon at that time. Usually, it points the direction of Taiwan. From 2019 to 2022, there are nearly 100 typhoons around Taiwan, but only 70 of them have issued alerts. This shows that Taiwan has suffered less typhoon attacks. It may be good for people, but this also leads to less rainfall. This leads to one of the major reasons for water shortage.
I'm going to introduce the 3 major regions and 6 goals of Taipei Sponge City. The Taipei Sponge City projects include a comprehensive water management plan for the upper, middle, and lower reaches of the river, as well as the improvement of river water quality and the environment, and the improvement of public education and education on the river. It contains 3 major visions and 6 major goals, which can be divided into 2 parts. First, strengthen flood control strategies. In addition to improving the existing flood control facilities, such as promoting the automation of pumping stations. These include restoring the natural water cycle in urban areas with green public works, building green sidewalks, green roofs, and implementing water conservation regulations for public facilities, which will not only reduce the urban heat island effect but also reduce rainfall runoff. Second, sustainability and reuse of water resources through the recycling of rainwater storage facilities in various buildings and the upgrading of sewage treatment technology. Reclaimed water will be promoted in terms of technology and utilization.
In summary, Taiwan's strength lies in its rich experience in flood prevention and practical measures, which are lacking in Singapore, where flooding is becoming serious under climate change. On the contrary, Singapore's well-developed water reuse politic and technologies are also Taiwan can learn from as natural precipitation decrease due to climate change. This is our presentation. Thanks for listening.